Hey, everything's live. We're here on the internet. We're talking to you. Yeah. Talking about traffic safety, traffic law, stuff and things. Lots of exciting stuff to talk about today, actually. It's the same stuff as yesterday with a different spin. Much of the same. We do a lot of this it gets repetitive, but there's always new stuff to talk about, too. Oh, a lot of audio interference today when I just touched something. What happened there? That's no fun. Stand by. All right, move that over. Maybe it'll make it better. What do I want to start with? I want to start with getting some housekeeping out of the way, and that's talking about voice over cop. That's me talking about the fact that this is called Ask a Traffic Cop. I don't know, sometimes it's on the screen, sometimes it's not. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service, and I want to talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team to start it off, so we can get right into your Q&A. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a group of officers in the city of Toronto. They're a dedicated enforcement team. They look for drivers who are out there making choices to drive unsafely. They're choosing to engage in the big four. That's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. They are out there engaged in behavior that we know leads to serious injury and death on our roads. So what do we do about it? They go out and they write tickets. No hugs being issued. They are today in 31 Division and 55 Division. That's Black Creek, Humbermead, Glenfield, Downsview, the Beaches, Riverdale, Danforth, East York. Those are the neighborhoods that they are supporting with their efforts of enforcement. Why do we give tickets? We give tickets to try and change behavior. Maybe if you have a bad experience, have a ticket, you won't want to do that again because it's not fun. Nobody likes a ticket. What do we do here? We answer your traffic and police questions so that you might become educated, understand what we're coming from, understand the laws that you may not even have known that you were violating. In any case, I have a big question. Does Q&A work? No, Q&A doesn't work. It's been 2 weeks now. Q&A function doesn't work. But I am doing something different today, and that is I have pulled up my own account so I can look at live chat on a big screen, and hopefully this means I will actually be able to get to all your chat questions. So I'm in the chat. I'm looking at the chat. We're going to answer your questions right now. I just want to go over and acknowledge the fact that we are on TikTok. That's our primary account. That's where we do the most business, where we talk to the most people. There's 258 people who are watching right now just on that platform. We're on Instagram Live, which is awesome. Hey, Instagram. We're also on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, there is something to be told. I should warn you. If you want to participate on those platforms, we love you. We want to hear from you. Use the chat function, and that's where you put in a comment in the live window. You're going to be good. But if you're on Twitter, the API is not working with Restream, which means we can't see you. You'd be typing, and we're not ignoring you on purpose. You got to come over to YouTube. YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, we're going to see your comments, of course, on TikTok, it's going to be on the chat, and on Instagram, we actually have a Q&A function that's working. So any way you come in, we will do our best to answer your question. Please don't spam. Please be kind. This is a place for everybody. And let's move on to some stuff and things. We've got... Andrew's in the room from LinkedIn. He's a good friend, a former member of the Toronto Police Service who's now working at Rogers, if I'm not mistaken. And Austinator says, I thought you were gone or something. Gone where? I was gone for 2 weeks. I was in Florida on vacation. I am back. I have a little bit of a tan. Nothing, out crazy. I'm not dark, but, for me, this is dark. Instead of paper, I am now slightly less paper. And I had a great time. Hey, do you know what I had? Best experience. Actually, there's tons of really great things, but I got to ride Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind when I was at Disney at Epcot Park. What an amazing ride that was. A little nauseous afterwards, but it was phenomenal. Not just because it had 80s music playing. Gloria Estefan, Rhythm Is Gonna Get You was playing. It's Miami Sound Machine, something right out of my childhood. So I was really having a good time. Big Jeff Fresh saying, hey, from Twitch today. Cody Prescott, how you doing? What is this? I don't know what... Do you go 10-6 while eating? Like, do we log off and go take a lunch? I don't know. We don't use 10 codes here, so I don't even know what 10-6 is. And yeah, confirms he's at Rogers. That's Andrew. Okay, let us go and see what's happening in the chat. Lots of cool stuff. I gotta post some pictures up. And if you don't watch my Instagram, I got promoted on Call of Duty Mobile. I'm now a professional player. That's what happens when you're on vacation and you can actually spend time playing video games, which you never get to spend time playing when you're at home. Other things that are happening today, as I'm scrolling through it's very weird. I'm not used to this interface. Other things that are cool today, I am going to be meeting with the folks from our recruiting section. Yes, talent acquisition. We're going to be doing a podcast episode all about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service because we are hiring. So what does that mean? means if you're looking to become a member of the police service, you should be checking out our website. You should be checking out the podcast, TPS Traffic Jam. It'll be aired as the next episode. I don't know if we're going to go live. Maybe we'll go live at 11:30 with them and take some questions. So if you want to come back at 11:30 after this is all said and done on everywhere but TikTok and Instagram. It's going to be on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Then you can jump in and see what it's all about becoming a member. In the meantime, you can go to www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers, and that's where you'll get all the information about the current postings. But we are looking for police officers and other positions too, so check it out. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to scroll back and we'll get right into the questions because I've gone on about too many other things. Off topic. Judah Call says, good morning. How you doing? He's one of our moderators. Good morning, Sean and gang from Tal Cologne. Tal Cologne? I don't know how to pronounce your username, but I'm going to get it right one day. Linda says, good morning. And apparently Q&A is still not working for anybody else. So if you do hear from if you do see Q&A, it means they fixed it, but they haven't fixed it. All right. What do we have? I have I have clear tail Cadillac lights. Can't find red lights. What should I do? What do you mean? You mean the lens is not the? Oh, you can't find red bulbs. They're not available. That's a good question. I'd be talking to your dealer and see what they have to say because obviously you can't run clear bulbs out of the rear. It would be unsafe. It would be illegal. So this is an issue with if your brake lights are your brake lenses are white and require a red bulb. It's a unique situation. I've not seen that problem or that there's been a shortage of bulbs. Not aware of it. How do cops feel when they see an ex-cop car on the road? If it's a Crown Vic, we probably are jealous because those were great vehicles. But ex-cop cars are just cars. If they're done up with stickers to represent themselves as police cars, that's a problem. But if they're simply Crown Victorias or we drive Explorers, those are not just police cars. So it depends on how it's configured. If you're trying to pose as a police officer, obviously I don't like that. And it also, you might get into trouble, not because, we'll pull you over and have a hard time. Mind you, some provinces and some cities and states do have issues with it. But in Ontario, just having one that looks like a police car that was a police car isn't an issue. The issue is when it comes to having, posing. You may find that some people don't like the police and may not like you if they think you are one. Let's see here. What's the red and white license plate? Those are diplomatic plates issued to someone with diplomatic privileges, so assigned to a what's it called? I always forget this word. What bloody heck? Okay, can't remember it escapes me every time I want to think of it. It's a mental block about what it's called. What is it called? It's called a. Anybody? Yeah, whatever. Essentially, it just means it's associated to the country's. I'm moving on. Aaron, help me out. What's it called? The diplomatic plates are assigned to. The diplomats. We're moving on. Do speed cameras affect insurance? No, their speed cameras are assigned to the vehicle, not the driver. The driver license would have to be associated in order for it to be on your driving record. It goes to your car. That's it. Now, if you don't pay it, you won't be able to. You won't be able to renew your license plate, even though it's free in Ontario now. You still can't renew it if you have fines that are unpaid. But no insurance rate. They don't go to your driver's license, which is what they check. Okay. Feels nice to be back. It is nice to be back, and it's nice that you're back. Smiley Girl says good morning, and let's see here. Back the blue. Thank you much. We have, do personal trailers need to be safetied with a yellow sticker? I believe it's based on weight in what classification. I don't have a good answer for you. I think that once you're over a certain weight, you're falling into a category based on the weight, but we'll have to get to you some more information. So personal trailers with a sticker. We're going to get to that and we'll do some follow-up. But send me a DM so I can get you Welder Mitch. Now that I said Welder Mitch, I'll just write down Welder Mitch. Okay. No, we talked about that. Off-duty cops were not pursued when, what? No, I don't know what you're talking about here. Is being on your phone allowed while in drive-throughs? So drive-throughs are private property, and in Ontario, the Highway Traffic Act doesn't apply for that particular charge on private property. Stunt driving obviously is now a charge on private property as well as on the road in Ontario. But yeah, you can use your cell phone while you're in a drive-through. Again, it's private property. Now, if you cause a collision in the drive-through while on your phone, that's going to be an issue. And thank you, Q, and who came up with embassy. Why that word escapes me whenever I want to talk about diplomatic plates. Embassies. The diplomatic plates are associated to embassies. Thank you. It's all right. Moving on. Okay. So much more stuff in the chat without Q&A. My cries for help to TikTok, although they've responded and said, yeah, we're working on it. Not much else going on to fixing it right now. We're still where we are. If you get how about if you get caught driving alone with your G1? So in Ontario, a G1 means that you need to be supervised by a qualified G, somebody who has their full G and 4 years experience. Now that means they could have had 4 years as a G2 and just got their G. That's still a total of 4 years experience. And they have to supervise you. So if you get caught when you are alone, what happens? Well, you get charged for drive unaccompanied. That's a problem. It comes with a 30-day license suspension along with a $110 fine, and it's no bueno. Now, if you're involved in the collision, you got to know that you're not insured. Technically, they insure licensed drivers, not unlicensed drivers, and technically, without that passenger, your license isn't good for anything. And what else can I tell you? Okay, first conviction, 30-day suspension. Second conviction, 90-day suspension. Third conviction, you get kicked out of the graduate licensing program. Quentin says, I have my G test today. What should I remember? Everything. No, you know what you have to do? Make sure you go to the bathroom before you start your test, because you don't want to be dancing in the seat needing to go to the bathroom when you're on your test. You don't need added stress. Hopefully you got some good sleep last night, because that's a thing. Don't go there hungry. You want to be there, chill. But you also want to make sure you verbalize everything you're doing. So if you're going to check your mirrors, say, I'm checking my mirrors. If you're doing a shoulder check, say you're doing a shoulder check. So you don't want that tester to think that you are not doing something, even if they're looking down at their page for a second. Let's see here. I always heard different things about passing on a solid yellow in Ontario. A solid yellow line, I assume you mean. Not allowed, but no set fine. So in Ontario, there is no offense for crossing a yellow or white solid line. Double lines mean it's safe to, or it should be safe. You still have to obviously check and make sure it is safe, because you're responsible for every movement of your vehicle. But if it's a solid line, there's no ticket for crossing that line unless there's a sign that says don't cross the line. Now, why does that matter? Because the sign is what you're disobeying, not the line. The line has no authority. The sign does if it's a regulated sign. What is this? Just found out that G1 driver can't drive anywhere over 80 with a licensed driver. It's so busy in here, it keeps popping up. Where'd it go? So this is, okay, doesn't seem smart. So if you are a G1 driver and you are with a licensed driver, no, you can't be on any road that is over 80 kilometers an hour, but there is a list of specific highways where people can't go anywhere because that's the only highway. So there's some exemptions to that. But you can't, for instance, go on the 401. Unless you're with a licensed driving instructor. That is different than mom or dad with a license. That is someone who is a professional driving instructor, has a driving instructor's license, and then they can take you on the highway. So that's the deal. Okay, I got everything just scrolled up. Hang on a second. Let me scroll back. Actually, hang on a second. I have an idea. I am going to copy and paste these questions into a document, and then I'm going to read from said document. Let's open up Microsoft Word. I'm going to paste it in. That was not the right button. Hey, Sergeant Campbell, how you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. There's headphones. I'll pass it over this way.
All right.
We'll put you on the on-air button. There we go. Now I can control the flow of the comments. Look at that. Now I'll have to refresh every once in a while. But, okay. Are aftermarket steering wheels illegal? Depends. If your aftermarket steering wheel is replacing something with an airbag, removal of an airbag is an offense. However, if it's a vehicle that did not have an airbag and you're just switching steering wheels, that's okay.
And as long as it's...
Oh, there you go. Mic is on.
And as long as it's designed in a way that you can control the vehicle. Some aftermarket ones that just have, hand pods or, the very futuristic style ones may not actually be lawful if it impedes your ability to control a vehicle.
Are you hearing a lot of static in your ears?
Nope.
And it's headphones. These headphones suck, apparently.
Is that the technical term for it?
Ha! Less interference. I love it. Okay. Not using those, using these. Fantastic. I was being tortured by noise. Noise, terrible. And then the removable or the race steering wheels that pop off or are removable. Those, my understanding, are not safe, and specifically stated on the box that they're not meant for the road.
And why would you have to remove your steering wheel anyways?
It's only if you can't get out through the access point on your F1 racing car.
Right.
So here's a question that I didn't have an answer for earlier, but do personal trailers need to be safetied with the yellow sticker? Do they need a device?
So if they are a commercial use trailer or owned by a commercial company, then yes, they do.
So
and it's only over a certain weight.
Okay, so I had half the answer, but there you go. Okay, right. The complete answer. And by the way, if you don't know who you're hearing from, next to me is Sergeant Murray Campbell. He is the towing. You're the impound. What is the official?
Towing and impound supervisor.
So he was both.
I supervise our MTO liaison officers, our construction liaison officers, and I hang out with you every once in a while.
This is true. It's a good time. And Q says, "Hi, Murray." We got Alan, who says, "Good morning, Sean and moderators. Happy Thursday." Josel, I can't pronounce your last name. I apologize. With a happy face. I don't think I've ever seen your name come up. So welcome to our LinkedIn stream. Now, they have we talked about driving with a G1 unaccompanied, but what's the monthly quota of tickets that we have here in Toronto?
The monthly quota of tickets that we have to go out there and write?
Yes.
What level of reward do you want to get?
Well, it depends.
That the toaster? Or is that the? Yeah, we don't actually have a quota here in Toronto. You know what? As a supervisor, I expect the police officers that work with me to go out there and do an honest day's work. And when they're not tied up doing investigations or something like that, then they're out there doing traffic enforcement to make it safer. So there is no number.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. There's no benefit, and that's why we do it, because it's something that we're A, paid to do, B, that we believe in. Enforcing laws and issuing tickets is to change driver behavior. If you don't break the rules, you won't get a ticket. But, there's no other motivation. What is this? I'm trying to do too many things at the same time. My friend should have had $5,000 in charges in a week, and a week in jail was the minimum. I don't know what the question is. The fact is that certain charges do come with a potential up to 6 months, depending on the charge. Could be up to 6 months in jail. For instance, no insurance is $5,000 to $25,000 on the first conviction, and up to 6 months in jail, or it could be either or. But that's up to the courts. Let's see here. Okay, we covered that. No quota, we talked about that. I've exported some of the chat questions into a Word document. Now I'm scrolling through. Before it was just spinning past. I couldn't keep track of it. There's so many questions, and Q&A still doesn't function on our stream. Good. It's very annoying. If you are at a light and the speed limit is 45, can gunning it straight from 0 to 45 get you a ticket? So 45 sounds like miles per hour, just because I don't think I've ever seen a 45-kilometer-an-hour speed zone in Ontario. So I don't know what the laws are going to be for your jurisdiction in the United States, whatever state you're in. But in Toronto or in Ontario, speeding unnecessarily to the speed limit could be interpreted as stunt driving, depending if you're squealing tires, if people are jumping out of the way because you're freaking out the pedestrians out. Depends on the scenario. Or
if you're actually engaged in a race with the guy beside you. If you're doing it and then get up to 45 and then,
first one crosses the line.
But it all depends on the scenario. Different
you can race another vehicle. You could race the clock. So could you race on your own?
So if you're not engaged in a race and you're not, you don't go over the speed limit, and you don't, as fast as you get there is fine.
As long as it's safe.
Why would you want to, though? You just waste some gas.
It's a whole lot of gas.
And if you're all by yourself, then
I don't know.
I don't know.
Shesa Pedro says, the police are now on TikTok. How about no? Well, how about yes? We've been on TikTok for a long time with 576,000 somewhat followers on TikTok alone. We're doing something right. We're here to answer your police and traffic questions. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, specifically working in traffic, specifically working in the Traffic Safety Programs Office, which is that educational component where we're here to try and avoid issues and reduce serious injury and death on our roads through education, as opposed to the people who are out there, like the Vision Zero enforcement team, who are writing tickets to change behavior. Two different sides of the same coin.
Yep.
Let's see here. Is it true that most police have a tracker or something that will stop some, I don't know, what that, it got cut off. Do you mean like our police cars are GPS tracked? Our dispatch knows how fast we're going, where we are, if our lights are on, if our lights are off. They see everything. They are the eye in the sky without a helicopter being involved.
Because we don't have a helicopter.
We don't have any helicopters. We borrow friends' helicopters when we need them. So, it's good to have friends, right? Friends with choppers. Okay, now that stickers are gone, will we still have to service Ontario every year to renew our ownership? Yes, although not every year. It can be 1 or 2 years. When you renew for free, and there's no sticker issued. It just renews in our system. It gives you a receipt. My suggestion would be, until things maybe get smoothed out and people get used to it, keep a copy of your receipt. And if you're traveling out of the province or country, maybe keep a copy of, whether it be electronic or physical, a copy of an article talking about the fact that we don't use stickers anymore, because sometimes communication doesn't go the way it's planned, and not everybody realizes that our stickers aren't a thing, and they may pull you over wondering why you don't have a sticker from many years of Ontario having stickers.
I got to tell you, Sean, because I look at all the cars that we tow in, and we tow about 30,000 cars a year. An awful lot of them that we're getting in now are not valid plates. The permits hasn't been updated.
People don't realize that they have to renew for free online. So please, if you're watching this, go onto the system, the Ministry of Transportation, the MTO, just search Ontario Renew License Plate. You're going to find it. You punch in the number on your permit. It shows you what you need, and you give them your odometer reading, and most times they'll see that your insurance is valid automatically without having to do anything, and it's done. You choose 1 or 2 years and press go and save the document that comes with it. You can also at that point register for automatic renewals, or not renewals, but reminders for health card, driver's license, license plate, the whole kit and caboodle, all in one stop. So that's another thing that's important, is they're not going to remind you unless you sign up for reminders. There's all these privacy things. You have to consent to it. You have to ask for it. So there you go.
And you get a caboodle along with it.
A caboodle, kit and caboodle. Okay, what is this? I know you don't give tickets for being 1 kilometer over the limit, but how is that threshold set by the officer? An officer could write a ticket for 1 kilometer over if they saw fit. It's just we wouldn't generally do that. It might be, for some officers, 5 kilometers for their personal threshold. Some officers may say 10. It really depends. So the easiest thing to avoid any issues is don't speed, because then you don't have to worry about thresholds.
Yeah. You know what? The offense of speeding is speeding. And as soon as you go over the speed limit, you've committed the offense. The amount over only determines the fine that you're going to get.
And the number of points.
And the number of points.
And the points aren't issued by the court. It's associated to the ministry based on the information provided in the conviction.
Yep.
Let's see here. Hypothetically, how many people on Razor scooters would it take to fill Yonge Street? Well, I won't worry about the hypothetical, because if the Razor scooters are electric kick scooters, they're illegal in the city of Toronto. We do not allow e-kick scooters, even though there is a provincial pilot. The city of Toronto hasn't adopted it. So all of those people, however many it would take to fill the streets, would all be eligible for an offense.
Yep.
A ticket.
So the province has come out with it as a trial project to see if this is a feasible thing to sustain. Each municipality actually has to opt in to allow it in their municipality. I know some of our neighboring ones have, but the city of Toronto, with the traffic flow and the congestion and pedestrians, it was determined it just was not a safe thing to do for the pilot project. Once it becomes, they work out some of the kinks in it and set some ground rules.
It may become one day.
Yep.
And there's a lot going on. I see scooters that are going well above the speed limit. It's not just the ones that conform. Those that are going over the speed limit, those aren't even covered under the pilot. Those are motor vehicles. They need license, ownership, and insurance. Just the same as e-bikes that are not conforming to what the regulation says. Those are motor vehicles. Those require license, ownership, and insurance, a motorcycle license. There's a lot going on here. So make sure you know the rules before you get involved involved with stuff because you don't want what comes with it. Remember, a fine for no insurance, and that's a motor vehicle, comes with a $5,000 to $25,000 charge, along with up to 6 months in jail. Not a game. Okay. Thoughts on gas prices right now? Can you see the tears? They're there.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not happy about gas prices, but it is what it is. I want to get my motorcycle on the road to save some money for that reason alone. I haven't ridden in a couple of years since my collision, but I want to because it's cheaper to run my bike. I want to acknowledge my magical wife who's watching right now live on YouTube. So hey, honey, how you doing? And I assume the kids are there for snacks. So hi, guys. Okay.
Your magical wife?
She's magical.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Levitates.
Sean, unfortunately, I got to run.
Well, thanks for dropping by.
I only had a few short minutes to join with you today.
And we thank you for spending those few short minutes with us.
Cool. We'll
see
chat
you
later.
again. Sounds good. Okay, Sergeant Campbell departs, and we will look at this question. Can a learner from another province drive in Ontario? Actually, no. And likewise, a learner from Ontario can't drive elsewhere. A learner's permit is only issued for the province in which you are driving it or applied for. A G2, however, is a probationary license, and you can drive interprovincially or internationally, as a matter of fact, but you have to conform to all the conditions. Why is there a high turnover rate in the police profession? I don't think there is a high turnover rate. Most people join and stay for their entire careers. I've been with the service for over 22 years now. I've had multiple positions within the service. I started as an auxiliary officer the same year I became a court officer, did both of those jobs, one volunteer, one paid, for 12 years, and then became a police officer, transferred in as a police constable. So I traded in 2 uniforms, got one that I think is much better. Not to say the other ones were bad, just that this one makes more money. And yeah, that's the deal. So I don't think there's a lot of turnover, but there are people who come in and decide it's not for them, and that's okay. You know, at least they tried, at least they succeeded in making it's a very competitive process. It's very hard to become a police officer. So for the people who join and become involved in policing and then choose it's not for them, they really found out that it wasn't for them. Now, one great way to find out if policing is something you might think is a good idea for you, join as an auxiliary constable. We have auxiliaries. They are uniformed volunteers, members of the community who come in and they're not armed. They don't have police powers, but they have training and go out and help us with community events and so many useful things. Again, I did it for 12 years. I was an auxiliary sergeant when I left, and it was one of the most rewarding and most exciting volunteer experiences that I think anyone can have. What is this? What's the legality of behind windshield banners? Well, windshield banners or any kind of sticker or thing stuck to your windshield or blocking a driver's view is that they're blocking a driver's view. If it's affixed to the window and it's anywhere that the windshield wipers wipe, the path of the windshield wipers, that's going to be an offense, and you can get a ticket for that. If you're same thing for anything left and right of the driver, and those windows can't be obstructed. But obstructing a driver's view is a charge. My wife says she thinks that the turnover is more common in the United States, but not so much in Canada, and that may be very, very true. I've heard different things from police services. It's a very different way of doing things. Let's see here. We talked about that. And James, to follow up, yes, you could get a ticket for it. You're very welcome. Okay. Let's see here. Did you guys get Dodge Chargers? Yes, we have 2 Dodge Chargers that are marked vehicles at traffic services. They're very cool. I put a video up when we got them the day the chief delivered them to the office. He personally delivered one of them, which is very cool. Are radar detectors legal? In Ontario, they are not. In fact, we have full search and seizure authority. We can search the vehicle and any persons in it in looking for that detector that we believe is there. And how do we know that there's one there or believe that one's there? We have our ways. No, it's actually not rocket science. It's pretty obvious when people have them. Jammers are also against the law, and the same rules apply. Let's see this. Going for G2 in 3 weeks, any changes? G2, no, I don't believe there's any changes. It was just the G that was reduced by 30% to make it more efficient to get through because there was some redundancy between your G2 and your G. I don't know for how much longer that will continue. How bad if you get caught with your driving alone on your G1? We talked about that earlier. it's bad. You're not insured, so you're effectively an unlicensed driver, but you'd be charged for driving unaccompanied, G1 drive unaccompanied, and you'd get a 30-day suspension on that license if you did it twice, 90 days on the second conviction, and kicked out of the the graduated licensing program on your third. And you'd have to then reapply and start from the beginning. So if you were 8 months in and about to take your G2, guess what? You get to start your 8 months again. What is this? We talked about that. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? That's a question from Orange Soda Pop, and it's a good question. I do like ice cream, although I'm not having any for a while. I will have to say the Jamocha Almond Fudge is my favorite. That's a Baskin-Robbins flavor, Jamocha Almond Fudge, without question. That's my favorite. I will say that when I was a kid, my dad would get me a scoop of chocolate and a scoop of orange sherbet, and that was my favorite growing up because coffee-flavored stuff wasn't my thing when I was a kid, but I'm definitely Jamocha Almond Fudge all the way. Let's see here. Okay. So the question is because people have dropped off or retired. So, I don't know. This is back to the turnover rate. Well, retirements happen, but we don't retire until most people 30, 35 years. Like we are not a short run. Like in the States, 25 and out is very popular or very common, but that's not the case here. Do I have a right to ask for a ticket in French? Asking for a ticket in French? No. You can. We have all sorts of opportunities to get things translated if need be. But you can have a trial in French, but you can't have a ticket in French. I don't speak French. I can't write you a ticket in French. We do have the ability to get you access to translation services in some cases where you might need it. I've arrested people who spoke French or claimed to only speak French, and I asked for an officer to attend who is French speaking. And we, oddly enough, have lots of those. But yes, I have a former police car I daily drive, I assume is what they meant, even though it said, you had a sticker on it that said not a cop. That's not a bad idea to simply clearly say you are not a police officer, so that's cool. But there's nothing wrong with having a car that used to be a police car. Now, there are certain issues with push bars in some jurisdictions and having mounted sirens or lights, because then it looks like you're trying to look like a cop. And not only could it be dangerous for you, but it could be illegal depending on your jurisdiction. All right. Someone said this. Let's see, jumping down. Can I come rip up the streets and do wheelies, ticket, and chase free? No, Tanner, you can't. If you intentionally take a wheel off the ground, wheelie, endo, anything like that, that's stunt driving. We'll take your vehicle for 14 days. It'll be impounded. You'll lose your license for 30 days. You'll be charged for stunt driving. And the consequences of a conviction, first conviction, a year suspension, 3 years for a second conviction. I think you get a lifetime ban on your third. It's serious. And you can go to jail. So not good. Do you guys arrest people for Facebook posts? Potentially, yeah. We were involved in a multi-jurisdiction situation where now I don't have firsthand experience. I'm simply telling you what I heard on the news. But there was someone who created a video suggesting that they were going to be involved in a shooting at an event in Florida. FBI, NYPD, a sheriff's office, and the Toronto Police worked together, and they arrested someone from Toronto. So yes, that was something that was posted on some social media platform, I assume. So Facebook would be as part of that. Depends on what you're putting up. Be careful. You're responsible for the things you say and do. That's just something you need to know. Okay. Going to hi, Sean from Miss Autumn. How you doing? Do you guys like modded cars? Here's the deal. Many of us are car people, motorcycle people, or just people who like cool things. And sure, legal modified cars are legal, and we can appreciate those. The ones that are breaking the law, that are unsafe, there's issues with that. It may look really cool and be really illegal, and we're still going to give you a ticket because we do that kind of thing. Big Jeff Fresh says, pretty sure our tickets have English and French on every line anyway. That's possible. I don't speak French. I've never looked for it. Now I got to go look for one. But we print electronic tickets. Hey, Aaron. It sounds so much like Safe Communities. Hey, Aaron, do parking tickets have French on them? Got one handy? I don't have any ticket books handy. Now I want to know. We're talking about French. All right. Aaron's going to go look. Let's see here. What's your opinion on Center Island Amusement Park? When I was a kid, I went there. I don't have any current information about this. Okay. Having gauges mounted on a pillar illegal. I don't think they're illegal unless they obstruct your view. This isn't a racetrack. You're not a drag racer. There's probably very little reason to have a giant shift meter and blinking light. If it obstructs your view, it could be a problem. Depends on how it's mounted. Do you think that everyone driving with rules? No, I don't think that everyone's driving with the rules, which is one of the reasons we do education, talking about the fact that they don't all drive with the rules. We do really hope that they do. Mullet Man says, "Hi, Sean, I have a question regarding when you get your license." Okay, Mullet Man, ask your question. And hi, Linda. Good to see you coming in through Facebook. Okay. What is this? Got a photo radar ticket in Winnipeg. How do I get out of it? I don't think you do. But you obviously have the ability of going and seeing the evidence against you. The problem is that's photographic evidence and actual evidence. So if you have a defense saying that's not your vehicle and there was a big mistake, then maybe you have a defense. But if it was you who got it and it was you who drove it and you did it, then you probably don't have a defense. Let's see here. All English on parking tickets. And I assume it's going to be the same on traffic tickets as well. I don't believe we have enough text or space to write that or print that. Maybe some jurisdictions have both. We don't. Now, there's descriptions on the back. There is it on the back, which is called the bucket, a second ticket, or the buck slip, I should say. I think there is a French translation of instructions there, but not the actual line by line. Okay. Talked about that. Will red light cams get you turning right on a red? Absolutely, because you didn't stop for the red if you ran through it. So a right on a red requires you to stop prior to proceeding when it's safe to do so. So if you run the red light to make your right turn, sure, it's going to get you. If you come to a stop and then make a right, no, it won't get you. What is this? What are we talking about? No, we're talking about why is your favorite flavor? Well, what is your favorite flavor of Gatorade? I haven't had Gatorade in a long time. Yeah. The question followed say, why is it blue? I don't know. Usually it's orange, I think would be my favorite. Joshua McDonald says, okay, question for motorcycles. Is there a driving test like there are for cars, like the road test? Yes, there is. Similar. So first you get your I keep saying 70 days. It's a 90-day permit. You get your learner's permit, your M1. That's good for 90 days. And that's just a written test, same as like a G1 with a little more information. That's specific to motorcycling. G2, usually you get that when you are on a motorcycle course. Now, if you didn't take a motorcycle course like I didn't originally, they follow you in a car. You wear a headset or a speaker, and they dictate what they want you to do in order to pass it. Now, mind you, mine was for a full. There was no such thing as graduate. G2. Same M2, same premise, and M, again, same. They follow you from another vehicle, and they dictate radio what they want you to do, and they watch you from a distance, safely behind you. Now, if you are on a motorcycle course, you leave that motorcycle course with an M2. That is as long as you've had 30 days, I believe, after you got your M1. So if it's like the next day you got your M1, the next day you take your course, you can't actually file that. It won't be valid to get your M2 until, I believe, 30 days has passed. Okay. Let's see here. What do we got? Traffic violation, parking tickets. Okay. At least in the States, I'm not sure about Canada. What are we talking about? Oh. Why is it when you get your license, you can't drive with people for a certain time period? Do you know anything about that? So there's things about driving with people of certain ages when you have a G2 between certain hours. And I guess it's to prevent you from putting a bunch of young people in your car and then going partying. I can only assume that that's the reason. Or maybe it's to prevent you from being distracted. But I can't tell you it's the motivation because I didn't write the law. But there are restrictions as to how many people, and there's certain exemptions. Like you can have lots of people in the car if they're all your family members, but not if they're not your family members. We'd have to look at that again. I have to read the exact wording to give you. What is this? Miriam says, or is it Maryam? I won't mispronounce. Okay. My brother failed his G because he was going 100, not higher, when merging on the highway. Thoughts? Well, my thoughts are that that's a strange predicament to be in. They can't tell you to break the law, and because breaking the law is breaking the law. So failing your brother for not breaking the law, I find difficult, and I'd question that because you can't break the law. Okay, but again, I don't know how their testers, what their rules are. I can only tell you from a legal perspective and an enforcement thing. Okay. Jeremy Warner says, "What do I do if I'm on my motorcycle and someone is tailgating and won't stop and wants a confrontation?" I would drive to a police station. If you have a Bluetooth and you can activate calling 911 because someone's aggressively driving at you and you're concerned for your safety, that's another option too. Would you stop 110 and a 90? 20 over? Yeah, why not? I would. 20 over is a good ticket. It's 20%. 20% over, yeah, I'm good with that. 25 over for sure, no questions. It all depends on what the rest of the planet's doing. Like if there's people doing 50 over, I'm going to go for the 50 because they're more interesting to me. But that if they're the only person driving and they're just choosing to break the law and they're the only ones there, they'll get the ticket. I don't discriminate. You break the law, you break the law. Okay. What type of license plate covers are accepted, and what happens if your license plate starts peeling? Fantastic question. Thank you very much for asking it, because it's a good one. It's one that we haven't talked about today. No covers are permitted. No frames are permitted. You cannot obstruct or obscure the ability for us to read a license plate in any way, shape, or form. You can't cover anything. And if it starts peeling, go get it replaced. If it's within 5 years, it's covered under warranty. If it's a B-series plate, many of those are covered for a longer period of time because they were acknowledged as defective. And if you don't get it fixed and it continues to peel, whether it's a little or a lot, and it's difficult to read as a result, you could get a ticket, $110 for simply having a plate that's not plainly visible or legible. Let's go here. Boom, boom, boom. Why are motorcycles not held to the same standards as cars when it comes to noise violations? They are, and there's actually additional offenses specific to the city of Toronto. We have a bylaw with a $500 fine for motorcycles that idle at a sound over 92 decibels. So there's a bigger fine, and they're more accountable. So can I do wheelies without getting lit up? No, wheelies are stunt driving. We'll take your wheels. Do we have to renew our license plate sticker? Do we even need a sticker? So you have to renew your plates, but you don't get a sticker. But you do have to renew, otherwise you're going to be an invalid plate, and then you're going to get a ticket for that. Why don't police help fund legal drift pit to help lower street drifting? We don't need to pay to give you a place to break the law and do unsafe things. You just don't do unsafe things and don't break the law. In fact, private property, unless it's a racetrack, you can't stunt drive on a drift pit. It would have to be a legal racetrack. Okay, questions coming in from Instagram, and I apologize because I've been ignoring you for a few. What do we got here? Keep safety in mind on back roads, even though they're less busy. They're just as dangerous. Saw a car almost get hit a couple of times this morning because they were parked in a lane over the crest of a hill to pick flowers at the side of the road. Yeah, people make bad decisions on all sorts of roads. Picking flowers, that's not a good way to die. Wow. You got to be traffic safety, traffic law, traffic in general. Driving is dangerous. People don't want to acknowledge the fact that operating a motor vehicle and being out on the road is inherently dangerous. We have all these safety precautions built into modern vehicles, but just traveling at speeds, 60 kilometers an hour, it can be very dangerous. So everything you do should be with that in mind. Doesn't mean that you're truly, risking your life every time you leave. In some ways, I guess you are, because you never know what the other person's going to do, and especially when you're outside of the city and there's longer wait times, and you don't know if someone's going to find you, and who knows if they have a cell phone with a battery in it. There's all sorts of things to think about. We want people to be safe. At the end of the day, slow down, pay attention, focus on the task at hand. If you're going to go pick flowers, don't do it at the side of the road. Okay. You are a cool cop. Well, thank you very much. I try. Actually, I don't try. This is just me. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm just being me. So many newer vehicles at night are driving with backlight not on. What is the fine for that offense? The fine for that offense is improper taillights, improper headlights, depending if their headlights are off, because if their taillights are off, likely they're driving around on their daytime running lights, which are improper because it's a low power, high beam bulb that's active at that point. So that's the issue. Okay. Hey, Sarge. You going to jump in?
Sure.
Cool. Sergeant Kulik is joining us now. We're getting all the sergeants.
Hey, hello, good morning.
Good morning. This one goes lower, possibly, if you want to use this one.
What are you saying?
If you look like you want to sit down. Okay. Can someone with their G2 and is underage for drinking drive with alcohol in their trunk? So if you're so the laws around purchasing alcohol are different than than for transporting alcohol, as far as I can tell. If someone else bought it and you were driving a car and it was in the trunk and it conformed to the fact that it was sealed and out of your reach, you can transport it. I don't think there's any issue there.
No, I don't see an issue with that at all.
Now, if it's inside the vehicle and it's open, so you're not conforming to the rules, then you can be charged just like anybody else. But it's not based on whether you're legal age to consume it. It's about whether it's being transported in accordance with the law. Let's see here. Joshua wants to know, are you a truck guy or car guy or bike? Personal question. I am a truck guy, a car guy, and a bike guy. I have 2 out of the 3 at the moment. I have a truck and I have a motorcycle. I would have all 3 if I had room in the garage. I like wheels. I'm a traffic guy. I like cars. And other modes of transport. I'd have a hovercraft if I could, a helicopter too. I like things that go vroom vroom. How long can I drive with I don't know what symbol got replaced with this on my screen. I'm going to assume an international or a foreign driver's license in Canada without having a Canadian license. So if you become a resident of Ontario, and it depends province to province, if you become a resident of Ontario, you have 60 days to apply for a Ontario driver's license, 60 days upon becoming a resident. If you apply on day 1 that you arrive here, you immediately become an Ontario driver and your foreign license is no longer valid. We will act on that. Now, some international or other countries have a reciprocal agreement with Ontario, which means you would trade your full license for a full license. Others may say, well, expedite your application for a full license, but you have to perform a G2 test, for instance, or a G test. Others will say, I'm sorry, we don't recognize your license and experience. You'll have to start with a full learner's permit and start from the very beginning. So it totally depends on where you're coming from and what the agreements are that are in place. But once you get that license, you are an Ontario driver, even if that's a learner's permit and requires you to be supervised by a fully licensed G driver with 4 years experience, means you can't drive anymore on your own. So there's a lot to go. You got to make sure you know what you're doing before. And many people come to the country, buy a car, apply for their G1, not realizing they're now driving without a license, and they continue to drive, and it's a major issue.
Best thing to do is, if you have any questions at all, go onto the Ministry of Transportation website, check out what they have to say about it, or go into your local MTO office, and they'd be more than happy to assist you and let you know the rules and regulations, depending on where you are coming from.
Someone says, what is the point of this? We have Google. There are many things that you can Google, absolutely. But what you don't get when you Google is a definitive answer. You get many opinions, you get many different sources, you may get information from a different jurisdiction. This is actually the best way to get information because you can speak directly to a police officer and have a conversation. And it may take more than simply reading a line of text to understand what's going on. And what happens when you read something and then you have more questions? Well, you're still going to have to come here and ask questions. So this is a fantastic way. We've had a lot of fun doing this for now. We're on our 2nd year. It's really awesome. And thank you for everyone who comes out and spends time with us every day. And I got to say, there are people who are regulars. They come out here every day. They spend an hour with us every day, and we have great conversations. We're a community. It's more than just ask a question. But hey, some people come in, ask a question, and take off, and that's okay too. We're happy to be here for you. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Last question. How does this, Mullet Man wants to know, how does the system with points towards your license work? Like when people get pulled over, it's a certain number of points towards your license. It's a good question. So depending on the license you have, whether it be a learner's permit or a full license, depends on how many points you get before things happen. So there's a lower threshold for learners, a higher threshold for fully licensed drivers. Essentially, once you are convicted of an offense or pay a ticket, which is the same as being convicted because you've admitted guilt and you've paid the fine, a set of points will be attributed based on the violation. So if you're speeding under 16, there's no points. If you are speeding over 16 but under 30, is it under 30 or under 40, the next threshold? In any case, it'll be, let's say, 3 points. The average ticket comes with 3 demerit points. Well, when you get to 6 or 9 or 12, certain things get triggered. A letter saying, hey, you're not a very good driver, you should stop doing what you're doing, is a nudge that the ministry will send. The idea is to track and notify you that there's a problem. 2, may cause a suspension to be put into place. We want to keep bad drivers off the road. Not just bad because they're not the best driver, but people who are doing things that are dangerous, which are moving violations. They shouldn't be on the road. So that's a way of tracking and doing it. It's not about insurance premiums. People think that this is a way to, insurance companies to charge more money. They'll charge you for anything, whether you have a point removed or added or not. Now, Just to let you know, convictions stay on your driver's license from 3 years from the date of conviction. Points stay on for 2 years from the date of the offense. So in some cases, there are people who have had tickets that are 2 years old. Well, when it goes to court after 2 years, there's no points being added because it's already beyond the time where the points go on. Just the way that works. But the conviction will stay on and your insurance company will see it. Let's see here. Boy, this is very cool because I've cut and pasted the first like 5,000 comments, and we're going through systematically getting all of them, which means everyone is posting right now. I haven't even gotten to you yet, so we're doing our best. I'm going to try and get to everybody. A lot of duplication. I can scroll through. Let's see here. Because a lot of motorcycles come stock loud. Tanner, I disagree with you. Vehicles that are sold in Ontario must conform to the regulations here. They're not stock loud. They are made stock aftermarket. So if you buy a Harley Davidson, they are like quiet, really quiet. People think Harley's loud, rumble, rumble. No, that's aftermarket pipes. And that's equally when people remove things like what's it called? Baffles. You start pulling things out of your muffler system, it gets loud. But that's because you've modified it or you've chosen to buy something that is not conforming to the rules. But stock, it's got to conform.
And remember, whatever you do to modify your vehicle, you are responsible for as the driver of that motorcycle or vehicle itself.
Even if you bought it that way.
Yeah, you have to know what the rules are before you either purchase it or put it on. And just know that if you choose to do that, that's not in the regulations, that you are subject to being charged under either bylaw offenses or Highway Traffic Act offenses. And you're ultimately responsible for your actions.
Yeah, a lot of people think that it's well, I bought the car that way, it's okay, right? No, because it should have been caught by safety. And if it wasn't caught by safety, you could obviously talk to your mechanic, like, why did you safety it if it wasn't safe? But at the end of the day, you are responsible as a driver, even if somebody else did something. You bought it with dark tint or windshield tint, whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's still illegal. Let's see here. What's going to happen to those who stole our cars? I don't know what we're talking about here. So we've had an increase in vehicle thefts, and people who get caught for stealing vehicles are charged for stealing vehicles. It's theft over. That was a grand theft auto.
It's a criminal charge
Yes.
that'll go before a justice, and the case will be presented and ultimately decided as to which way it goes. But yeah, vehicle thefts have always been a problem in our country. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, but we do have officers out there that are actively investigating those crimes. So people need to be held responsible for it, because I get it, it's just a car, but it's that feeling of an invasion of privacy.
Cars are very personal.
Yeah.
So are motorcycles and other things. Everything's personal. If someone robs you, breaks into your house, it's personal. But nobody wants to have their stuff taken. But there are things you can do to reduce the chances of being a victim of these crimes. That won't eliminate it, but you can add things like using the club that we used to see 20 years ago. That was very popular. And you know what? It's not something that can't be defeated, but it does increase the amount of time that you have to invest to steal the car. So they might just look for the next door neighbor's car or continue down the road. So things you can do to reduce the chances of being a victim of crime are things like parking in a well-lit area, parking in your garage, although even in your garage won't prevent it. If someone's stalking a fancy car, they'll go in your house and take it. Heck, even if you put a boot on the car, they can just put it on a flatbed tow truck, because they will do what they got to do to get the car, because that's the job of the criminal. And
unfortunately, there's some quasi-professional thieves out there that have different tools, but just to help yourself, if it's in your driveway, make sure your lights are on outside or you have motion sensors. If your vehicle, certain vehicles are equipped with notifications that will let you know when the door is open and so on. So those are all things that can help. Don't park behind bushes where you can't see, and all those little tricks of the trade that it's not going to prevent it, but it can help.
yeah, things to make most criminals want the easy score. They want to get something that's easy. You make it less easy, they'll move to something that's easier.
And lock your doors.
Yes, oddly enough, so many people don't.
Yeah.
And alarm systems that make lots of noise, those are good too.
Yep.
Many people don't install aftermarket alarm systems. They just use whatever's stock. Well, if they copy your key or use some of the methods that are being used right now, they bypass the alarm system. Ignition cutouts, having a hidden switch, so even if they had a copied key, they couldn't actually start it. I've even had people say that you should pop the hood and remove the fuel pump relay, and because you can easily put it back in, and no bad guy is going to come with a stockpile of fuel pump relays. Weird things I never thought of, but apparently this is a thing that people do. What is the question here? There's a question that says, no, what's that? Listen to instructions, stay calm. Oh, I think we're talking about what to do if you're pulled over by the police. This is a good one. I'll have to text this to somebody. Someone wants to know where's the girl who's usually with you. She's possibly in the chat, hanging out, but not on camera today or not on audio today. Someone wants to know, would I stop someone for 5 over? It depends. If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. If they're breaking that law and only going 5 over, but they're also breaking 25 other laws, well, we're going to pull them over. And it's not just the 5 kilometers over, but if they're in a 30 kilometer an hour zone, and in Toronto we have lots of those, and they're doing 5 over, that's a school zone or an area where there's concern for safety of pedestrians more so than others. Yeah, I might pull them over for 5, even if it's just for a conversation. I don't have to lead the charge, but we're going to probably have a conversation as to why they're breaking the law. Can TPS commander vehicles? I don't know what that means.
Oh, you mean like take over?
Commandeer.
Commandeer is probably what
it is. It is. Yeah. I've never tried.
Technically, I believe under the laws we can. Has it ever been done? I don't know of anybody that has ever done it. I'm not sure.
I've seen it in movies a lot, but there was no training on commandeering. I have a feeling it's frowned upon, even if it was legal.
Yeah.
We don't got insurance for
There's
that.
just way too many liabilities that would come along with that, right? So.
Yeah. Take a taxi, follow that cab. I don't know. What is this? I'm back having a connection problem. Okay, somebody's having some problems. Question somebody asked, and I saw in the other window. Someone says, be honest, this ain't about traffic safety. Traffic cops are about money. We don't get paid. We don't for more tickets. We don't get commission. There's no quotas. I've never been sent on a round trip, trip to a cottage or gotten a free toaster for writing tickets. We write tickets to change behavior because we want to make the streets safer for everybody, drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, everybody. So no, you're absolutely off base when you say that we write them for some kind of benefit. Not only do we not make money personally from writing tickets, the service doesn't make money for us writing tickets. Now, maybe in certain jurisdictions otherwise, maybe they get to keep a percentage of it to the service. I know in some states they confiscate drug vehicles and turn them into police cars. We don't have that. We don't drive Lamborghinis that we've taken from people. We don't get commission. And the province gets the money, not the police service, which is many steps above us. So, yeah, no, absolutely not a situation that where you're going. Maybe in your district, your jurisdiction, but not here. What I was going to talk about before I read that was someone said, if I'm operating my insulin pump, can I get a distracted driving ticket? In Ontario, no. Distracted driving is specific to handheld communication devices. It's specific to handheld entertainment or a screen. So if I'm driving and my wife shows me her Instagram account, I am now watching a screen from somebody else's device. That's still distracted driving. But what's the story with an insulin pump? If you're using it, you got to use it safely. While there's no distracted driving charge, you could still be charged for, what am I thinking here? It's the
careless driving.
Careless driving. Thank you very much. Careless driving is when you're doing something other than, making your focus being driving. It's causing an issue. So if you're swerving because you're focused on your insulin pump instead of driving, that's a problem. Pull over somewhere safe. Get off the road and deal with your insulin pump. That's a medical situation. I totally understand that why it's a reason to do it and why there's urgency, but don't do it while you're driving. Additionally, I'm speaking about Ontario on this because I understand BC drinking water could be distracted driving. Their laws are different. Every province is going to have slightly different laws. Ours do not cover insulin pumps. Or water.
Take care of yourself first, right? If you have that need because your insulin levels are up or down and you need to adjust those, maybe it's time to just pull off for a few minutes, get everything sorted out the way it should be, and then get back on your way again safely. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you're safe, but also those around you.
Absolutely. Question is, can you get an impaired while operating on private property like an ATV in a field? Yes. Any motor vehicle, while impaired on public or private property, is impaired operation, and you can be charged.
And that goes for boats as well, now that we're getting into boating season.
Good thing.
That's a lot of, if you're out there on the lakes and you have a cottage or you go away with friends or you're down in the Toronto Harbour for the day, make sure you know the laws, right? Those that apply to motor vehicles also apply to vessels out there. And if you are going to be drinking on a vessel, know the regulations for it, that it has to have a washroom and cooking facilities. It has to be hard aground or at anchor. There's all, and sleeping quarters. There's different regulations. So, impaired is impaired, right? We want everybody to be safe out there, whether it's your ATV, your boat, your car, your motorcycle. Just don't drink and drive.
That's the easiest thing. No amount of alcohol or drugs in your system is okay in any opinion. It may not be something that will result in a criminal charge. You could have something that's under the legal limit, but it's still leading towards a higher chance of collision. It's still going to be a problem that may result in a suspension or a criminal charge. But even if it doesn't, what if you get hurt? What if you hurt somebody else? Even a legal amount, because if you are not a zero tolerance person, if you're not someone who has a license that requires a zero blood alcohol content, then you could have one. But even that one could lead to enough impairment to cause an issue and maybe land you in a position where you hurt somebody. So.
And then you have to live with that for the rest of your life as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's terrible. Nobody wants to be involved with anything that hurts someone, or whether you know the person you hurt or not, whether it's you or someone else. Okay. Can an off-duty officer pursue in a traffic stop if necessary or needed? So off-duty officer versus on-duty officer. So when I'm in my flip-flops and I'm at home, I'm still a police officer. Am I going to engage in pulling someone over in my flip-flops? Probably not, but I'll probably be calling the police and 911 to get someone to respond to something that needs response. I'm still obligated to do something, but pulling them over or acting on myself is not appropriate. But there are situations where someone might be, depending on what happens, in a position to help and do things. But it's mostly going to be calling in and being a good provider of evidence. But if someone's beating somebody else up, maybe we'll intervene. It really depends on the situation. But we are police officers 24/7, and we are obligated to act.
Yeah.
What is this? I always got 49 over or 39 over, so I don't get my car taken away. So Nina got a gift. Someone reduced it so they wouldn't have to impound the vehicle for whatever reason. And that's happened. Generally speaking, we'll take your car. Don't bank on 49 over, so you don't get charged for speeding. It's still a huge ticket, but I'm not going to reduce something for you. If you're actually doing 49, then you get charged for 49. But you got a problem if you're doing that kind of speed to the point where you continuously get pulled over for those speeds. You need to rethink your driving.
I hope that you can learn from that too, right? Like, I understand people are going to make mistakes or poor decisions in life, but don't keep making those same mistakes, right? Learn from it and become a better driver and a better person.
Yeah, it's funny. I was going to do a video about how much ketchup I put on French fries when I pay for my own ketchup or if the ketchup is free. There's so much at stake. Not to mention the fact that you could wreck your car or hurt somebody. Your vehicle's going to be taken off the road. You're going to have insurance rates that are sky high. So much more than just having a fun, quick jaunt in your car. It's really a dangerous way to go. Speeding is not something that's okay. It kills. Whether people agree with it or not, doesn't matter. The facts are, it kills. Okay. It is 11:02, and it's that time. I got to prepare to do the episode in 30 minutes with our employment unit. But you know what? I think we might go live with that. I won't know for sure until I get them on the connection. But come back and or keep an eye on your devices. See if we pop up. If we don't, it's going to be an episode on TPS Traffic Jam, and it's going to be good. So we will be back. I think we're going to go live with the employment unit. I think they're going to want to have live interaction in 30 minutes. So yeah, 11:30, we'll go live again.
Come on back, learn everything.
Oh, let me put your mic back up. Now we can hear you.
Come on back, learn everything there is to know about recruiting.
Yeah, if you are interested in becoming a police officer or a member of the Toronto Police Service in any way, shape, or form, come join us. Talk to us about things that interest you, and answer the questions that only they at employment talent acquisition can answer. I talk about how much fun I have as a police officer, but they can tell you how to become one. So with that, I bid you adieu. Have fun, stay safe, and if you're coming back, we'll see you in 30.